Well, hello everyone. It's Lesley Timbol here for Mental Iron. I am currently in my new Vegas place, my new rental for the next 6 months. So you're going to have a bit of a different backdrop. I may be changing the time just because there's a 3-hour time difference from where I was before in Eastern Standard Time to Vegas time. Vegas is 3 hours behind. I'm respecting the 2:30 around the 2:30 p.m. time slot Eastern Standard Time for today. But moving forward, I have to figure out the best times. It's going to work around my gym times, and I have to figure out traffic going at different times. But today's topic, as far as what I want to talk about today, is the fear of happiness. Now, this sounds a little weird because who doesn't want to be happy? A lot of times we're talking about we might be upset, we might be angry, we might feel overwhelmed. So why would anyone not want to be happy? So I want to be able to let you guys know there's actually a name for this. Now, I don't want you guys getting too stuck on names. I just want you to know there is a name. It's called cherophobia. And I'm going to do a video explaining it in a little bit more detail. I'm trying to get them out on Friday. I apologize that the one on last Friday didn't go out first thing in the morning. It went out later in the day. I was traveling and just trying to get everything set up in my apparently furnished condo was not furnished. So I've been doing some running around, and thank goodness for Amazon Prime, guys, because I finally got a pillow I could sleep on. And to get some soap was always nice. But I want to go into cherophobia. Now, the thing is with this, hey, how you doing, Xavier? Nice to see you. You're working, listening to the kids on the baby monitor, and okay, like, awesome. That's awesome. Thank you. Now, actually, I'm curious something about Xavier. When you post videos, and by the way, I've really enjoyed the desktop bodybuilding. I think it's killer. Their interviews and everything, and the coverage is amazing. What time of the day is the best time to be able to get the most audience? Now, I know you're from Australia, so it might be a little bit different, but I wasn't sure if you find that something gets a little bit more traction than others, because I'm trying to figure out ever since I'm going to be in Vegas for 6 months, and it's finding out what's the best time that I can get more people. So anyway, I'm just going to go. If anyone, by the way, A Body Transformation by Lee. Okay. Thank you, Lee. I appreciate you giving me a pass. Thank you. If you guys have preferred time slots, let me know what they are, and I'll see if I can work them into my schedule. So I'm debating whether to go to the gym like around 9:30 a.m. Vegas time or around, let's say, 1 p.m. So again, it might depend on traffic because where I am is a little bit further. It takes me in good traffic, it takes me about 25 minutes to get to my gym, which isn't a big deal, but it's just trying to avoid the rush hour. So, so cherophobia, fear of happiness, which sounds really weird. Why would anyone not want to be happy? So I want to go over the reasons, and I want to give you a little test to see if you actually suffer from cherophobia. Okay. So what is it? This aversion or fear of happiness. So why would someone have a fear? So sometimes there's this belief, and it has to do with a lot of our belief systems, is that we believe that if we actually are happy, because let's face it, feeling happy can be very fleeting. It's kind of this belief system that if we're happy, something bad's going to happen. Have you ever heard the expression, I'm waiting for the shoe to drop, the other shoe to drop? What I mean by that, if you're not familiar with that expression, is that if things are going well, I'm not even talking about, bodybuilding and getting ready for a competition. It could be anything in life. If things are going well in your life, you're like, you know what? It's almost going too well. Something has to give. I'm either going to get a speeding ticket. It's going to be like horrible rain. I'm going to, or if you're in Canada, depending on where you are in Canada, and it's snowing, I'm going to flip out and hurt my back. Like something bad is going to happen, So it's not that we don't want to be happy. We're just afraid that if we're happy, because that's not the normal state of things in our life, something inevitably is going to go wrong. So here's the reality. Things are always going to go wrong. It's about how we bounce back from it. So, that's one of the belief systems. Another is being happy makes you a worse person. Okay, what do I mean by that? Doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad person because you're happy, but this belief system with people with cherophobia is that they almost feel guilty. So if they're happy, they see people around them as being unhappy, unfulfilled, Maybe they're struggling with something. So they almost feel a sense of guilt that, hey, my life is actually going on track, or I'm having a good day for a change, and it's trying to say, okay, I almost feel guilty for being happy because people around me are not, because I see them struggling. So that's that fear. Again, it's not that we don't want to be happy. It's that what comes with the happiness. And in this case, it's that belief system of feeling guilty. Another is that there's this belief is that happiness is bad for you and other people. Okay, so what do I mean by that? So basically, it should be avoided because, okay, so have you ever heard of the evil eye? So there's this, and again, I'm not saying whether this is true or not, this is a belief system, where that if you have visible success, so let's take Xavier on desktop building. His channel does really, really well. There's a lot of great bodybuilding channels out there, by the way. So there's the belief that if people can see that you're doing really well in your bodybuilding channel, that it can make other people, maybe whether they're doing bodybuilder channels or not, they almost feel envious of you. Oh, he's got it so good. Success comes easy for him. Like they don't realize the work that you, and I'm picking on you, Xavier, saying as an example, but there's so many people that can be envious. It could be bodybuilders just saying, oh, they had it so easy, or building muscle comes easy for them. They have genetics. There's that envy component. So, and it leads to basically, if you have success and people kind of mentally kind of wish you ill will because they envy that you're successful. It's not that you did anything wrong. It's that they want to be successful, but they didn't put the work in like you did. And there's that belief that if people are suspicious or envious of your success, that will lead to ultimate misfortune. Because if you do this evil eye and you put it out there, then that something evil or misfortune will happen to that person. And again, this is a belief. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying this is the belief system. The other thing is this other belief system is believing that pursuing happiness is actually bad for you. Okay, so where's that belief system coming from? So this has been basically, if we have this pursuit of happiness, there was actually a group, I remember, I don't know if you guys remember the group. It's a musical group actually called The Pursuit of Happiness. I actually like them. One of their songs is I'm an Adult Now. It's a great song. Anyway, so The Pursuit of Happiness is usually mainly focused on how do we make ourselves better. Now, in the belief system of someone with pterophobia, they see that as being almost self-centered, selfish, because why are you focusing on you, your happiness? Why aren't you focusing on other people? So, it's seen as if you're pursuing happiness in your little bubble, you're being selfish. Again, this is the belief system. I'm not saying that's right. In fact, I'm saying that's incorrect. It's not healthy. I think it's perfectly fine to saying, can you do something that makes you happy? What's wrong with that? Can you also do stuff that makes other happy? Sure. Why can't you do both? So I'm just going to check out the comments here. It seems like around the time of the day is best, around midday. Okay. For lives, it might be a little bit better. Okay, cool. That's cool. Thanks, Xavier, for sharing that for timing purposes. Big boy, welcome. There are a lot of people that are afraid to open up to other people. This is very true. Because when we open, that's a great point. Thanks, big boy. Because when we open up, we make ourselves vulnerable. Because we all know and again, I'm not saying everyone is critical, but there's a lot of people out there that the moment you say something, people can be personally offended. And it's not to say that you're trying to offend people. You're just expressing an opinion, an experience, something that you have gone through. But because some of us can be sensitive about certain things, sometimes we pick up on things, and again, we absorb it and we don't react well to that. And that's not what the intention was. I could go on about cancel culture. I think I could go on for an hour about that. People should not be canceled. I mean, certain things should not be said about hatred and crime and stuff like that. But everyone has a point of view. And I think it's healthy to have conversations with people who don't share your point of view. And just so I don't go on too much of a tangent here, anyone who disagrees with anything I'm saying, I have no problem with that. Let's have a conversation. I'm not going to dislike you because you disagree with me. In fact, I'd love to have conversations with people. I can learn things from other people. Maybe I'll even change my mind. I like to think I'm open-minded. So we get caught in this. If someone doesn't agree with me, they're my enemy. Really? Really, people? No. Why can't it be, I just disagree with that particular point of view? That's okay. We can still have healthy conversations. We don't have to live in this world where we need to live in a world where we're more unified. So maybe we don't agree with everything, but maybe we can agree with, certain core principles that everyone has a right to free speech in the ideal world. And, it would be nice if people could care about other people. Can we at least agree on some basics here? There's that, and people who are quite judgmental and just assume. Yes. Unfortunately, there's always going to be people, big boy, that, that's a great point as far as being judgmental and being very critical. Now, keep in mind, people who are very judgmental and critical have gone through things that have made them that way. Now, I'm not excusing their behavior, but it is about saying, how do I tune out that noise? When someone is being critical of something that you're putting out there, whether it's on social media, whether you're an athlete going on stage as a bodybuilder or competing in some type of sport event or anything in life, when people are judgmental, I tell people three words that are really key. Consider the source. What I mean that is the person who is speaking, that is saying these negative things, either directly or indirectly to you or about anything you've said or done. How well do they know you? Are they basing it on a small piece of information, or are they taking the big picture and really get to know who you are? So I remember seeing Fuad's channel, and someone was criticizing that they don't talk about bodybuilding. Well, if you follow the channel, they do talk about bodybuilding. They talk about other things too. And I find it actually that's my ab workout actually, is watching Fuad's channels, my ab workout, because it makes me laugh, the things that I'm like, oh, that's what guys really talk about. That's pretty interesting. So anyway, but no, I mean, he does talk about bodybuilding. And what I love about Fuad's channel is that he introduces us, along with Xavier, to the various athletes. So we get to know, as the audience and people who love the sport, to get to know them a bit more personally. Because otherwise, before, like years ago, it was like the magazines, and how do you get to know them except for when the pictures come out? You don't get to know them as a person. You just get to see their pictures. So it's nice to know the person behind the athlete. So, I really enjoy that, and that people make the effort. Now, people are going to be criticizing no matter what you say, no matter what you do. That's normal. It's so, big boy, this is what I say also, is that when you put yourself out there, especially on social media, it doesn't have to be just social media, but especially on social media, if you don't have at least one hater, you're not doing it right. So there's internet trolls. Now, I actually did a video, and if you go to my YouTube channel in my press, I don't forget what number it is, but it's literally dealing with internet trolls. I have a bunch of steps that you can follow, that when you are being I call it trolled. When you have these internet trolls, and if you don't know what I mean by internet trolls, they're just people who are very naysayers and they just like to say negative things no matter what you say. I have some tried and true techniques, specific techniques that you can use if you're being trolled, because we have no control over what anyone else says or does. What we do have control over is how we respond to those people. And when you say, let's say you do a post, and you get a lot of positive comments, but then you get some negative stuff from the trolls. Now, constructive criticism, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about trolls who are just saying negative stuff for the sake of negative stuff, because that's their way of having self-esteem, is that they just want to, instead of doing internal work, they just want to bring other people down. Again, I'm not saying that's right. It's not, but I'm just trying to explain the backstory of this. So now where was I going? I got sidetracked. When dealing with the source, if they don't know you, slough it off. And actually take it as a compliment, that if you're getting trolls, that means you're getting eyeballs everywhere. And trust me, trolls are everywhere, no matter where you go. So, and they hide behind the keyboards, and we all know that they don't use their real names. So to me, that's a cowardly approach too. They're not willing to have intellectual conversations to say, okay, if you do disagree with me, let's have a conversation about it. They just want to, hide behind their computers and type whatever, and that makes them feel good. Okay, well, if I made you feel good because that's what you had to do, okay, cool. Now, here's the thing about the posting. When an internet troll posts something, you might say, oh, well, other people who don't know me very well are going to judge me based on this criticism that I'm getting from this troll, because maybe they don't know that they're a troll. How you respond to that troll, that's what people are looking at. You can show a lot of maturity and integrity on how you respond. And again, check out my dealing with internet troll video. And if you have any questions, certainly send me a DM. I'm happy to help you with that. To saying that's what people care about. It's one thing when people spew out negative stuff, but your response to that negative stuff is what people pay attention to. And that's what you have control over. And if you know how to deal with that properly, your fans are going to be with you tenfold, and those that were on the fence are going to be on your side. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so let me just read this. We want to be happy and be around good people. Having negative people around you will make you think the wrong way. That's so true. And I have a few haters, yes. So big boy, if you have a few haters, you're doing something right. I know that sounds a little warped, but you are. I messaged you the other day on Instagram about motivation and I've been going through. Did I respond to you? Make sure I did. New private dating chat. I don't have time to date. That's great advice. Thanks. No problem, Xavier. Okay. Now, this is not a dating chat website, just so you know, but certainly I understand people are going to be posting. And as a quick thing, and I hate doing this, but I want to boost the algorithm. And obviously I want to be able to have people exposed to this content, because I talk about this over and over again, how there's such a mental component. And I'm not talking about just bodybuilding. It's in bodybuilding. It's in any kind of sport. It can be in business. It can be in personal relationships. I want to get this content out. So if you guys can give me a thumbs up, that's awesome. If you can spread the word, that's awesome. I have no idea how this algorithm works, to be honest. I'm not tech savvy whatsoever. So I call myself TC, which is tech challenged. I need a shirt that says I'm tech challenged. So anyway, Xavier, if you can, if I could hire you, because the way you do your videos and you put these extra things in is so cool. And I just don't have the brain for that. Could I take the time? Probably, but my mind's on other things. I'm working on the Amateur Olympia. So that's kind of where my focus is right now. But yeah, I'm glad you like the advice. Thank you, Xavier. That private dating thing is a bot account. It's best to block it. Okay, now how do I block it? Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can figure this out. Oh, remove, report. How about remove? How about we let's do that. Okay. So I think, let's see, hold on. Let's see, hide user on this channel. Let's try that one too. Okay, let's see if that works. I don't know if that blocked it, but it hit it. Okay. Yeah, so bots. So here's the thing, bots have no feelings. Bots can't be happy. They can't be sad. They just talk trash. So think of a bot like talking to a wall. It's kind of like, their program is just there. You have so much better things to do with your life than to pay attention to a bot. But, whether they're bots, whether they're internet trolls, tune them out. Here's a great thing. Have you ever gone to school? Do you remember going to school? I certainly did. I went to school for forever. Sitting in a class and you get dazed. You can look at the professor, the teacher, whoever the instructor is. I don't know if you have this talent. I certainly did. I can look someone in the eye, especially an instructor. They think I have 100% attention from me because I'm looking right at them. I'm daydreaming. I'm thinking about what I'm going to do after the class. I'm thinking about probably what I'm going to cook. What I have to do grocery shopping. Do I have to do laundry? What kind of other assignments I got to work on? I have my little to-do list. That's what I'm thinking of. And I can look at them. So basically, it's looking like I'm engaged, but I'm not when I'm in school, because school was not exactly, I believe in the educational system to a point, but I believe you don't have to go to school to be educated. I believe life experiences are way more important. And I don't like how our educational, and I'm going to go on a little tirade here. This is my rant. You know how on RX Muscle they have Iron Rage. This is my little mental Iron Rage here. The school system sucks. It doesn't teach people practical skills. Because if I had a school, if I could be, help design a school, do you know what class I would help people with? How to fight fair. Where do we learn how to fight fair? I learned how to fight because I had siblings, but it wasn't necessarily fair. On the bus, going to school, in the playground area. But that, again, those weren't necessarily the healthy ways of fighting. And how to communicate. I'm not talking about English. I'm not talking about grammar. I'm talking about really how to get your points across and having a proper debate team. Because I think debate in a healthy way should be taught to students. There are so many topics, and I don't know if you guys ever had this experience looking back on your years of going to school. How much do you retain? I went to school for a long, long time, and it's only a handful of things that I retained. So it would be nice to have more useful information for kids and adults. And like I said, learning how to fight fair is definitely up there. So we talked a bit. My name is, okay, you listen. Okay, cool. On IG. Okay, I'll have to double check that. Did I get back to you though, big boy? I don't know if I did. Make sure I did. And if I didn't, send me another one. I think my wife has that as well from Lesley. Okay. People want to fit in a group, but you have to be careful with which group you join. You certainly don't want to be a group full of negative people. Right. And big boy, here's the thing. Sometimes what they do is to reel you in, they can seem like the cool crowd, and they're very, they're really attentive just to get you in. The moment you realize, I call it the wolf in sheep's clothing. So from the outside, they look very, not necessarily a sheep, but they seem, like they're kind of innocent. But when they start to show their claws, as far as or their fangs with the if we use the wolf analogy, you can say bye-bye. There's nothing wrong with that. Once you realize, and then keep in mind, sometimes it's not that necessarily people are toxic right away. Sometimes they go through something and they become toxic. That's okay. That's the moment where you can pull away. People are brought into our lives for different reasons, and sometimes they're meant to be like short-term. Sometimes they're meant to be long-term, depending on what you get from the friendship. It's, again, two-way street. It's not a one-way street thing. But I agree. When people are negative, you need to get rid of them in your life. And this includes family. So here's the thing. With friends, it's a little bit different. With family, it's blood. So we have this kind of societal, notion that because they're your family, you have to tolerate them. Who said? I'm not saying that. I'm saying you might give them a little bit more chances, but there needs to be some conversations of respect and boundaries. And if they're not being respectful of that, then we need to have a serious conversation about if someone's not respecting your boundaries and they're not being respectful, blood or not, you may not want to continue that relationship, or you might want to change the nature of the relationship. So you may not see them as much, or when you visit them, you don't stay as long. So there's certain limitations that can be put into place. But I agree, being around negative people will not help you for sure. So that's a great point, big boy. I wish my teachers taught me about money. And money, yes. Oh, big boy, that's a great conversation. How to deal with money, how to save, how to budget, like all this stuff, for sure. I think, yeah, building credit, that would be a great, great subject that they should teach in school. I agree. Oh, I did respond. We talked about power. Oh, now I remember. Yes. The powerlifting. I remember now. Thank you for reminding me. So that's cool. So again, if you guys, now I was talking about the fear, or sorry, the fear of happiness. But if there's other topics you want me to cover, just shoot them in the box. But I want to give you a quick little test about whether you fit into this cherophobia thing. And and again, I will do a more detailed video on this. I'll probably, if I can, I'm going to have it out on Friday. So I'm going to use the fear of happiness scale. Now, there's actually two, but I'm going to do one for you guys right now. So one of them, I'm going to ask you to rate. Now, which one do I want to do? Okay, let me do this one. Okay, fear of happiness scale by Gilbert. Okay, so I'm going to ask you some questions. I want you guys to kind of rate. So the score is going to go from 0, so basically not at all like me, to a 4, which is extremely like me. So let's see how far your score is. Now, I think there's 6. Let me just double check. There's only, actually, sorry, there's 9. There's 9 statements. So let's see if you want to play along. Remember, 0 is nothing like me. 4 is exactly like me. There's nine sentences I'm going to say. So I want you to get a little pen and paper and write these out. So on a scale of 0 to 4, here's the first one. I am frightened to let myself become too happy. Now, granted, I know these are very general statements, but I want you to rate it from 0 to 4. 0 is not at all like me. 4 is exactly like me. Number 2, I find it difficult to trust positive feelings. Okay, again, scale 0 to 4. 3, good feelings never last. Again, scale 0 to 4. 4, I feel I don't deserve to be happy. Number 5, feeling good makes me feel uncomfortable. Number 6, I don't let myself get too excited about positive things or achievements. Number 7, remember there's a total of 9 here, so we're almost done. Number 7, when you are happy, you can never be sure that something will not hit you out of the blue. Number 8, I worry that if I feel good, something bad will happen. And the last one, if you feel good, you let your guard down. Oh, interesting. I'm looking at the, hey, Matt, nice to see you. So yeah, it's interesting that there's a range here you guys are putting out. Matt, I'm just reading your comment right now. Planning to do my first ever show next year, yes, and I keep my bodybuilding completely hidden. I wanted to celebrate the achievement. How I went from overweight to show shape, but family don't understand it. Yes. So before I go into that little test, I want to answer your question, Matt. Yeah, here's the thing. Sometimes family does not understand, especially when it comes to bodybuilding. And if not to say that they would, there's a difference between working out and actually training for a show. They may not understand. Now, if you're planning on doing this more than once or twice, there needs to be a conversation with the family about moving forward of what that will entail. Because when you go into prep, you're not going to be able to hide it when you go into formal prep, Matt. So they'll want to know what's going on. Keep in mind, when it comes to family, now we're talking about your significant other, kids are one thing. Being able to have a plan of, as far as who's going to be able to take care of the kids, if that's going to change your responsibilities and how your partner feels about that. When it comes to your partner, it's just saying, well, are you going to be able to spend as much time with them? Maybe not when you're bodybuilding, because right now getting ready for the Olympia, I'm training 3 times a day. So, that doesn't leave a whole lot of, now my people around me know that for me because they know they've been around me long enough. Now, when you're in your off season, then you spend time with them. So it's learning how to balance it, but it's managing people's expectations. Now, they may not be thrilled about it. I'll tell you right now, my mother was never thrilled about me bodybuilding. Okay. She's called me anorexic on more than one occasion. And I know what anorexia is, guys, and I'm not in denial. I do not have anorexia. However, when I start to look gray leading up to the show, like a week or 2 before the show, I know that's normal. And anyone who's done a bodybuilding show knows that you don't necessarily look healthy when you get close to show. And that's okay, because once you get the carbs back in, and trust me, I can put food away. It would be surprised. I'm only 5 feet tall, and I know that's actually, it's under 5 feet tall is not very big. But I think I have hollow legs because I can eat a crap load of food if I'm allowed. So, but yeah, it's, you're not always going to have people's support, but it's really important to find people who are supportive. So whether it's, I'm lucky when I go to gyms, I always find people. Now, they don't have to be competitors. They don't have to be bodybuilders. They don't have to be powerlifters, but people who go to the gym more or less, who are regulars, they do understand the importance of health, or they've seen other people in their journeys. And it's ideal if you can find other people, and they don't have to be competing at the same show, but who've gone through it, or maybe they're going through their first show, and you can support each other. It's nice to have the emotional support. No bodybuilder that has done, ask any pro, any pro in any organization, any sport. Do you think they got there by themselves? No, they might have good genetics, but they had a bit of a cheerleading squad to help them. They had maybe a coach, maybe they had family members, maybe they didn't, but they always had at least one person that would help them, because this is not something you do alone. So when you don't have that family support, now the family support might come in later if they see that you're doing well and that you've got something and you can learn how to balance things in your off season. They might be able to be supportive later on, but I wouldn't expect that. So it's learning how to say, okay, if I can't get support from my family, who can I get support from? And that's really important. And a lot of times if you have a good coach, you can do that from your coach. You can get from other people in the gym, like I said, other competitors. So keep that in mind. It's not, I'm picking on bodybuilding right now, but any sport, to do it at a really high elite level, you're not going to be able to do it on your own. And this is not a reflection of you. It's the nature of the sport, of any sport. That mental game, you do need that extra pair of eyes and someone to kind of talk you down when you're having those insecure moments, when you have those doubts. And we all have doubts. It's not to say don't have doubts. It's to say when you have doubts, what do you do about it? Because we're human. We're all human. Okay, so so big boy, you were talking about your rating, no more than 2. Okay, 2 or under, 14 total. Prophecy. Oh, welcome, Prophecy's Revenge. You're in great shape. Thank you. What's sup chase? I don't even know what sup chase is. What is sup chase? I don't know what that means. Sup prophecy. Guys, I don't even know what that means. Help me translate that. What does that mean? Hard work and dedication. Yes. And Prophecy's Revenge. In order to be a bodybuilder, I'm prepping for the Amateur Olympia. This is not my first go around. I've done numerous shows. Yeah, it's a lot of hard work and dedication. And if you have a touch of insanity, that's really good. Because I think in order to compete, you have to be a little bit insane to do this. Having a coach or someone at your side helps a lot. Absolutely, big boy. Yeah. I've been training the last couple of years without a training partner, and maybe I should have one again. And big boy, here's the thing. I think it's good to have a training partner. It can also help push you, but it has to be the right training partner. So what I mean by that, what makes a good training partner? Well, you would know because you had one. But for people who are watching, it's not just having someone there for the sake of having someone there. You get to know each other's vibe. Some people like to talk a lot, during the sets or have someone yell in their ear. Some people don't. Some people don't want to talk at all, except for after the workout is done. And you also want a training partner who's going to show up. So if you say, I want to show up on this day at this time, and they're always running late. I understand sometimes with traffic, but if they're running chronically late, that's a form of disrespect. Don't train with that person. It's better that you train alone in that case. And from the purpose of making things easier, ideally someone who's within, they don't have to be necessarily at they could be, as far as, muscle maturity level. For me, let's say, I could train with another amateur, I could train with a pro, but what would be difficult for me is because I'm so short when it comes to changing the seats and everything. When we want to hit stuff fast, changing plates and everything may be difficult. And, if I go with someone who can do a lot more weight than I can, like significantly more, or they're a lot taller than I am, it just takes more time. It doesn't mean it can't be done. But when we want to get through a leg workout, because my leg workouts one of my leg workouts is close to like 2.5 hours? One of my leg workouts is shorter and the other one's really long. But so, I want to get through my workout. I don't want to spend all day at the gym. As much as I like the gym, I don't want to spend all day at the gym. So you want to be able to get through your workouts and do it. So basically when your partner's done their set, you want to be able to do your set right after that. Because you don't want to go too long in between your sets. You need to rest, but not too long. But yeah, I think it could definitely help. I used to be called Chase. It was a username for YouTube and gaming. Okay, and that's what prophecy meant. Oh, okay, cool. All right, really miss you, Chase. Cool. Chase, awesome. All right. Let's see. I just can't have anyone as a training partner. Ask some fat guy eating pizza on a leg extension at Planet Fitness to train with me. Okay, Planet Fitness. I could do a rant on Planet Fitness. I call it the purple gym. If it's the one I'm thinking about, is this the one where you can't drop weights because the alarm will go off? I'm trying to remember. Is that the one? Because I actually went to that gym. I didn't like okay, and nothing against it. It's a different kind of vibe. For me, you can have the best equipment in the world, but if the vibe isn't there, I'm not going to enjoy my workout as much. It's not that I can't, and I train by myself. And I'm not against training with people as long as we can work well together. And I have no problem training with my coach. But my coach is actually out of the country, so I won't be training with my coach. So it's really important to be able to find that right match. So I agree with you. I think it's really important to find that person who gets you and understands your style, and knows how to properly spot, because that's important too. You want to make sure you're safe, because the idea of having a partner is to be able to push you when you can't do it on your own, or it would be unsafe for you to do it on your own. You want that safety. But I agree. It has to be someone eating pizza on the leg extension. I haven't seen that. I wouldn't doubt that happens, but I haven't seen that. Thank goodness. Yeah. Anyone eating anything on a machine and training would be a little scary. I understand having your BCAs, EAs, whatever, that's fine. But yeah, I shared your stream on my community tab because I'm sure a lot of my viewers will like this. Thank you so much, big boy. I appreciate that. Now, you said you used to be called Chase. Do you want me to call you Chase or big boy? I wasn't sure. So let me know. Lunk alert. Yes. Okay, Lee. Yes. If that's the purple gym, Planet Fitness, it's a different kind of, what was the other? There was another gym that I didn't really like where they don't put their weights away. I think that's so disrespectful. So again, guys, please give me a thumbs up and whatever you can to get the channel out there, because I really want to get to the mental piece. And the bodybuilder channels are great, but so many of them don't talk about the mental component and going in a deeper level to do that. They talk about the importance of it, but they don't solely do that. And that's what I want to do. And I'm not saying don't listen to the other bodybuilder channels. I think a lot of them contribute something. My thing is the mental piece. So the mental piece, whether because I'm a registered psychotherapist, let's say you're having a relationship issue and you're training for your next competition. Or let's say, as an example, recently my mother-in-law just died. Now I'm still prepping for a show. So, there's dealing with those kinds of things, and to say, should you still do the show? Like for me, I'm definitely doing the show still, but it's learning how to kind of reconcile a lot of things when you're going through, because life happens, right? Whether you're competing or not. But when you're competing, you want all your ducks in a line. You want to be able to have things kind of more or less perfect so you can optimize your recovery and the results that you get so you can give your best presentation on stage. Well, that's nice in the ideal world, but you have to learn how to deal with shit when it happens in your personal life. That's where the registered psychotherapist, what I do in helping athletes. Now, I also have the mental game coaching piece. How's that different? Okay, you're getting ready for a show. Look at the Olympia. How many people are going to be on social media, whether it's Facebook, I think it's more Instagram, and they're checking out their competitors. They're getting in their heads, especially peak week. Peak week, people's brains, especially because of the carb manipulation and stuff that happens. And when they cut down before they start adding carbs in, insecurities can go to an all-time high. A lot of doubts. Your vision changes. Now, I don't mean vision necessarily that you can't see clearly, literally speaking. I mean vision that you look in your body and you're saying, I look like shit, I shouldn't do the show. Or let's say you were allowed a refeed or even a cheat meal at some point leading up to a show. You have it, but then you go overboard and you're like, crap, I just ruined. Why should I bother? And then you go on this big purge, like a big binge. Sorry, you go on a big binge. And then you're like, well, fuck it, and it's like, no, get back on track. And that's the thing. Sometimes we need someone to kind of get us to saying, okay, you fucked up. What are you going to do now? Are you going to continue? You have a choice. You're either going to continue fucking up or you get back on track and see how fast you can use those carbs or whatever you just did. I think I did and I don't know if it was on iron therapy or mental iron. So iron therapy with the show I did with Dave Palumbo on RX Muscle, we were talking about, have you ever lied to your coach? I know it might be tempting when you fuck up, but if you don't tell your coach, and let me tell you, your coach does know when you do check-in pictures if you're lying or not, just in case you thought. And people who do, okay, I was guilty. I did this years ago. I would cheat because I cave into a craving, and then I did extra cardio. Do not do that. Do not do that. I did that. I admit it. I effed up. But then, thinking that I could do extra cardio to fix it or to make up for it. It doesn't make up for it, guys. It doesn't make up for it. And be honest with your coach, because then they can make the proper adjustments. But, when we don't feel motivated, that's the other piece. Let's say you're getting ready for a show. You've been motivated. You had that on switch, but then something happens, whether it's on social media, whether it's you get some trolls that just get to you because you're having a vulnerable moment, whether, let's say, your body's not responding the way it should. Maybe you're second guessing your coach. So there's a lot of things that are taking place from a sports performance or let's say you do a show and you didn't place the way you want, and then you got another show a week or two later. If you didn't place the way you wanted to, and let's say you placed a lot less, like really further down, that can mentally get to you in your prep for the next show. That's where I help athletes too. All that mental piece. But again, people they don't know how to deal with it. And that's where I'm coming in. I would love for the IFBB to hire me. And they would pay me to go to shows. So I would basically go to the athlete meeting, introduce myself, talk to the athletes. Because remember, sometimes athletes don't have anyone in the audience. They're by themselves. Sometimes people will have panic attacks. I want to be backstage and help people. Whether they're having trouble. I remember there have been a couple of shows where when I compete in women's physique, and there were girls backstage that were so nervous that they couldn't get their suits on properly. So I'd help them. But there's anxiety on different levels. And some people need to be on their own and not around all the other people, just in their own space, which is fine. But then they can get in their heads, and then it can start spinning. And they can go down, I call it the negative rabbit hole. I want to be there for athletes. So if anyone knows anyone in the IFBB that can get this out there, I would love to have a conversation with them about them hiring me, helping me get a work visa so I can actually stay in the States, because I don't want to go back to Canada, ideally. I want to help bodybuilders and athletes in the United States. Well, I'll live in the States. I can see anyone in the world. But to be able to help them get through a lot of these challenges so they can put their best foot forward on stage, in the field, wherever their sport is. So that's my little rant there. Big boy, are you listening? This is fine. Okay, cool. Thank you. I enjoyed your show you did with Greg and Dave. Yeah, Greg is hilarious. Greg, it's amazing how many stories, no matter how much I hear Greg, I always hear different stories and I learn something. Also with Lee Priest. Lee Priest is a hoot. I think he is hilarious. And I don't know how, after all these years and he doesn't train as hard, how he can have such big biceps still. If I had a fraction of his biceps, I would love that. So no, a lot of kudos to Lee. I'm hoping to see Lee when he comes down to Vegas. He is coming down to Vegas. I'm hoping to meet up with him at some point. So that'd be cool. And thank you, big boy. I appreciate that. Yeah, he's a good guy. There's a lot of good people. You see, here's the thing, and also about the bodybuilding community, Matt. So you were saying before about not getting support from your family. When you're part, even if you don't meet people in person, when you're part of these conversations, whether it's my channel or someone else's channel, you get support, and it's great. So whether it's in person or online, you can get support from other people, and you have to tune out that noise from the trolls. But people usually, bodybuilders are very open individuals, for the most part, because they know we're considered as quote unquote freaks or different, okay? Different than the regular population. So, and we feel misunderstood sometimes. But that's why we're also more accepting. And we also know that we're not perfect. We always have things to improve upon, which is great, gives us something to do. But we also want to raise the bar. Like, look at the Olympia this year. This is going to be I haven't seen a competitive lineup like this in a very long time. I have no idea. I know people are saying Rami's going to win. I'll tell you what's going to guarantee Rami from winning. He's got a good mindset right now. From the podcasts I've watched so far, he's looked the best he's ever looked, and he's in a good mindset. The problem is, I know with mindset, as you get closer to the show, not just with Rami, anybody, things change. I don't know if he can still hold on to this strong mindset, because we're still, just a little over 6 weeks. Well, for me, it's 6 weeks, but for the guys, they're on the weekend. Just a little bit over, about 6.5 weeks for the guys to go up, the open bodybuilders to go up. Will he be able to keep it as we get closer to the show? That's a lot of pressure. And Dennis is great, but I think he could use someone like myself to help kind of dig into some other pieces. That is the only thing, because stress, as we all know, you can check all the boxes, do the cardio, eat properly, get as much rest as you can, take your vitamins, your sups, whatever. You can check all those boxes. But if you're stressed, if you've ever done a show, stress is related to, so basically there's something called a hormone called cortisol. Your cortisol levels will go up, and that can definitely impact how your body looks. You might retain more water. It's not that you have fat, but you can retain more water, which will obviously affect your presentation on stage. A lot of things can help it, can hurt you. So stress definitely does. That's the only reason why he wouldn't get first. Doesn't mean the other guys aren't going to be great. Brandon, from what I understand, he's bringing up his legs. I can't wait to see it. But there are so many people in the Olympia that really need mental game coaches. And I think what Chris Bumstead did, he's working with Hani. Initially, it was for the mental game piece. Good for him. You ask any athlete, I'm not even talking about bodybuilding, any athlete, any GOAT, the greatest of all time, of any sport, they have their coach, but they also may have other coaches. You may have heard someone called Tom Brady. How many coaches does he have? It's not that he doesn't know what he's doing, but he has a coach for different pieces of what he needs to do to be the GOAT. Why don't bodybuilders, if they want to be the best, get whatever coaches they need? So maybe you don't need a coach for training. Okay, what about dialing you in and having those extra pair of eyes? What about for posing? What about for your mental game? This is important. So if for the people who are in the Olympia, it's not just the Olympia, but any show, if you have a mental game coach, you will definitely go up in your placings if you do that. So when bodybuilders say, oh, I've done everything, have you? Have you? Chris Bumstead he's got someone, and Hani, there's not a lot of coaches like Hani with the mental piece. They can help a little bit, but Hani has a better understanding of the mental piece than a lot of other coaches. He doesn't have the full gamut like I do, but I think he has enough that he's going to be able to help someone like Chris Bumstead. Chris is, obviously I like Chris because he's a Canadian, and I think he's got a great physique. This is nothing against any of the other guys, by the way, but obviously I'm rooting for my Canadians, but I have a lot of favorites outside of people who are Canadians, like Hadi. I don't know. I hope there's no issues with his visa. I hope no one has an issue with their visa. I want everyone to come in. I want to see everybody, whether they're from Canada or Egypt or for whoever, from Brazil. I don't care. I just want to see the best of the best and see them compete. So sorry, I just went on a little tangent there. Lee Priest might have had bad gas, but still good guy. I'm just kidding about the bad gas. Yeah, Lee's hilarious. Honestly, he is. So just getting back to that fear of happiness. I haven't forgotten, guys. I do go on tangents. But the fear of happiness, it doesn't mean you shouldn't be happy. But it's that belief system that something bad will happen, or you'll get the evil eye from people, or maybe, the shoe's going to drop. Guess what? If you were not happy, all those belief systems could still happen. So if my point is, as your mental game coach, is if it's going to happen that the other shoe's going to drop anyway, whether you're happy or whether you're not happy, you're going to get the evil eye from people, whether you're happy or not, Because even if things are not going well in your life, people from the outside might say, they got it made. Oh, they're doing well. They don't know everything that's going on in your life. They have no idea what shit you're going through, but they might perceive it. Oh, they were smiling today. They're smiling a lot. I smile a lot, by the way, except when I'm actually training, then I'm kind of like swearing in my head. But anyway, normally I smile a lot, so people think I'm happy, and generally I am. But it doesn't mean I don't go through my own stuff. But there could be people who say, she's got it made. What does she have to complain about? Whether I'm happy or not, people are going to give me the evil eye. I'm still going to have trolls. But then again, it's like, good, I have a troll or two. Or maybe a few hundred one day. So that means I'm doing something right. Again, take it as a compliment. But, it's getting back into what you can control versus what you can't control. And what I can control is whether I'm happy or not. And the world around me, how they interpret that is up to them. And you have to learn how to say, I don't give a shit what other people think to some extent. Because if they want to judge me, is that fair? Probably not. But that's her prerogative. My prerogative is, do I want to spend time giving them that power over me and that energy to stress about it or not? So, like I said, I think if you're going to have people where the shoe's going to drop anyway, something bad's going to happen in your life because things happen, whether you're happy or not, I'd rather be happy. If I'm going to have an evil eye, I might as well be happy about it. If I'm going to have naysayers, I might as well be happy about it. So it's trying to say, okay, if the shoe's going to drop, I must have some happiness. At least it gives me some happiness in my day or my week or my month. So keep that in mind. So beliefs are important, but let's put them into context. Okay. You'll most get the evil eye or judged in a negative way by people you don't know. That's very true. They're insecure. Some of my female friends' boyfriends are like that towards me. Yes, I agree, big boy, because a lot of times, keep in mind, and you hit the nail on the head, people are judgmental. Why? Because it's easy to criticize other people than look in the mirror and say, I've got my own shit to work on. It's like people who delegate. Instead of doing the work, they delegate. Now, some people need to delegate because they're overloaded. That's different. But if they don't want the responsibility of working on themselves, because that takes too much time, takes too much effort, it's like, let me pick on somebody else. Like, look at the gossip magazines. They're talking about gossip. Why do people like to read gossip? It's because they want that superficial, let me laugh at someone else and still look at my own shit. So yeah, they're in denial about dealing with their own stuff. Now, it's different. If someone's dealing with their own stuff and they're struggling, that's different. I'm talking about people who don't make the effort to work on their stuff. And if they want to work on it themselves and try to figure it out, that's fine. But you need to come to a point where if you cannot come up with a proper solution where you're getting healthier results, consult with a professional like myself to give you, specific strategies. I'm very big on giving people strategies. Well, I want to hear what you have to say. Of course I do. So I have an understanding of what you're going through. But if you ask me, Lesley, what should I do? I will tell you. And I'll say, well, this is why. And if you say something I disagree with, I will say, hey, this is why I don't think it's as helpful for you because of A, B, and C, but I want you to do D, E, and F. So I do explain a lot. I do talk, but I do listen. But yeah, if you ever ask me a question, what should I do? I'm not going to say, well, what do you think? I'm going to say, okay, this is what I want you to do, but here's why. I'm very direct that way. So yeah, I'm going to need to eat my next meal and then get ready for the gym. So if there's nothing else, if there's something else, definitely put it in the chat, guys. If anyone who is watching this after the fact and you have questions, comments, ideas for future episodes, for topics, whether I do it live or I do a taping on, because I usually do my taping on Friday for Mental Iron, do leave it in the comments below. And again, if you want to share, get this word out there, that would be helpful because the more people reach this, for me, I really don't care how many people watch this. What I care is about reaching more people in the respect of helping people. So to me, it's not I have so many subscribers. Okay, theoretically, if I had 1 million subscribers, but only 2 people got any benefit from my video, that means nothing to me then. I would rather have 10, and I have more than 10, but let's say I have 10 subscribers and maybe 8 of those, so 80% of them are getting something out of my material. That's what is more important to me. It's not the numbers, the impact I have on people, that they give a shit and that they're actually getting something out of my videos. So That's what's more important to me. But obviously, I understand the more people I can reach, the chances are the more I can help people. So that's where I'm kind of getting at from that. So if you guys can give me a thumbs up, that's awesome to bump me in the algorithm. Any topics you want me to cover or suggestions, please put it in the comments below. See, I'm like, oh, River, welcome. Welcome, River. I don't know if you just joined, but I'm just wrapping up. But this will be, when I'm done, this will be posted so you can watch it later. And River, just so you know, I do traditionally do this on Mondays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, but because I just moved to Vegas in the time frames, I might be changing the timing of when I do my lives. I'll have to make a decision by next week when I'll do that, because I want to be consistent on what time I do that at. I also have to talk to Dave about if we can change the iron therapy, because we usually do iron therapy at 2 p.m. Eastern. So once I get settled into the Vegas time slot and for the schedules, then you guys can join. And if you can join live, awesome. If you can't, no worries. Like I said, just post below. I always check messages within 24 hours and respond. So yeah, welcome to my channel. I appreciate that. This was a good stream. Okay, thank you, big boy. This is coming on YouTube doesn't mean much anymore on YouTube like it used to be, because it ruined this. Okay, yeah. River's a good guy. He's a viewer of mine. Oh, cool. Welcome, River. Cool. And big boy, thank you for introducing me to Big River. River. That's really cool. Thank you. All right, guys. So once again, just give me a thumbs up. Any suggestions, comments, please put them below. I'm gonna have my next meal, and then I'm gonna hit. What am I doing today? Oh, I'm doing back and biceps. I love that day. So hope you guys have a great training day. No injuries. I wish you no injuries. And like I said, remember, happiness is okay, because bad stuff is going to happen to you anyway. Okay. But if you have questions, put them below. If you're afraid to put something public and because you want to be more private, send me a DM on Instagram. So my Instagram handle is Lesley_T_mental_iron. Send me a DM. I will respond. If I'm not responding, it's chances I'm probably training at the gym or if I'm on a client call, but I always check my messages in between. So I will definitely respond. So guys, thank you for joining me on Mental Iron. Keep an eye out for the more detailed video I will be doing on Friday, that will be released on Friday, about cherophobia. And I'll put the other test in there too, to explain a little bit more about it. Now, just so you know, if you have cherophobia, it's not a big deal, okay? It's really not a big deal, but I will talk about strategies on how to deal with that. So thanks so much, guys. Have a great rest of your day. And remember to keep your mental game on. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.